Hi, everybody. Welcome to NLL Lacrosse Talk. I'm Gary Groob. With me today, I have a very special guest from the Oshawa FireWolves. I have Jaxon Fridge. Jaxon, thanks a lot for coming on the show.
Thanks for having me.
First question we ask everybody is, what brought you into lacrosse? What made you pick up a stick?
The gist of it was my dad played, and so as a kid, he threw me into it. I was big into soccer as well, but once time went on, I got more into lacrosse, fell in love with it, quit everything else, and just stick with that.
Right. What kept the stick in your hand over the years?
I don't know. I think it just the friends I made, a lot of connections through lacrosse, uh, and just how physical it was and how exciting it was. It's not like soccer where you're kicking the ball around, you're throwing the ball, shooting the ball, hitting each other. I think it's a great sport.
Right, right. Now, you mentioned your dad. Were there any other mentors in your early journeys to get you in the right direction?
I would say my dad coached me a lot, and then also Kurt Malowski coached me in minor. So basically, all my life, I've been getting coached by top-notch guys, and
Right,
so fine tuning my skills and stuff like that, even at a young age, was really helpful. And knowing Kurt's a pretty physical, mean kind of like guy. Like he riles up the team in a sense where you gotta go out there and kill somebody. At minor, it's a little dialed back, but
right.
same kind of gist. And yeah,
Yeah, we've had Kurt on the show, and yeah, he's very focused
yes,
in his
very
work.
focused.
Now, I've had my dad was a musician, and I came into music as well, and I know what it's like to have big footsteps to fill. And there are advantages and disadvantages because those are big shadows and big footsteps to fill. And you always hear about the past. How did you get yourself out from the shadow?
Yeah, so with my dad being my dad and growing up, every time I'm at a sporting event, mainly lacrosse, it's he'll run into somebody from the past, from some team or played against somebody, and I'm usually just like sitting there.
Yeah,
And over time, I found where I had to kind of do it myself, like kind of get out of his shadow. And I think that really happened when I won my first Minto with Quillen Junior Admax.
right,
And that kind of put me in a different column where I'm not just Fridgie's kid, I'm Jaxon Fridge. And
right.
so, yeah,
Yeah, that's a big thing right there. Is just the ability to get out from the shadow and start etching your own niche in the
yes.
game. Now, again, looking at Dad, just I don't want to dwell on him. I just want to get to just his accomplishments. Yeah, he played in Mill, but he's also been coaching with the ALL, which I'm the media guy in the East for the ALL, and I love the league. I love everything that the league represents because I think that it teaches someone to become a pro and stay a pro and
Mhm.
all the things that come across it, including NLL type coaching, rules, and everything else from the moment you walk in the arena to the game to the moment you walk out. Being part of it with of course, Dad there, do you have the same idea of the importance of the ALL for guys getting in the league? Is to put something like 40 or 50 guys in the league to stay.
Yeah, I mean, I'd never experienced the ALL, like, playing in it, but
Right,
from hearing from my dad and seeing what he's kinda done with his teams and I've followed along sometimes, the other teams in the West League. Uh, yeah, it's a high intensity, like, good group, like, it's a lot of physicality, and there's a lot of similarities between the pro game and the ALL, so I think it's a good, like, resource to have in lacrosse.
absolutely. Now, talk to me about growing up in Maple Ridge and another hotbed of lacrosse, not a big place, but a hotbed still. And just coming up through minor lacrosse there, because it wasn't really schooling, it was through minor lacrosse that you came through, right?
Yes, correct. I started playing, I think, since I could walk. Grew up in Ridge, and then ended up moving in 2009 to Coquitlam. But there's a grandfather rule of some sort where if you play more than 3 years, you can go back and finish your minor. And so with me being a kid and already making friends out in Maple Ridge, I decided to make the trek every year
Right.
and started like everybody in Pee Wee or whatever they call it now.
Right.
I don't even know. Playing playing there, playing in the Cam Neely Arena, uh, and just going through my motions. Won a provincial and Pee Wee, and then got like runner ups both my other 2 years, bantam and midget. Uh, but yeah, growing up there, like the amount of talent and like people I've met. Braden Lady is one of those guys that me and him grew up together.
Right.
I just played against him on Calgary, and it's always been a question for like the guys that I grew up with, where why doesn't Ridge have a junior team? And I think it would be a great hotbed, especially my years where I was there. We would have been a
Mhm.
great team, but I don't have the answer to that. I don't got that one.
Right. I actually spent a little bit of time when a youth over in Surrey and Delta, and yeah, it was long before you had SkyTrain. So to come into
Yeah.
mainland was a long trek. So
Mhm.
distances and things like that became a bit of a headache as well for everything. But I'm looking going into junior, and you head over to Coquitlam. Let's talk about your years in there, especially. I want to take separately the Minto Cup, of course, and the magic of that year. But just being in with that kind of an organization, and now you're really moving forward. Have you hit the aha moment yet? Going, I can do this. This could be my career.
Yeah, I think so. In for junior, Coquitlam was a blessing for me. I think so. So I didn't have to end up going to the draft for
Right.
my junior year. I was automatically on Coquitlam since I had moved there in '09. But yeah, ever since I got there, the amount of guys that had won a Minto, like coaching, like Ethan Ticehurst, or other guys who just brought a lot of physicality and good stick skills, and our teams were always in the top end of our league, and so that
Mhm.
always helped my playing and stuff like that. I got to play against guys who are of that top caliber more and more often, and then play. I guess I missed a year because of COVID or whatever, but played
Mhm.
4 seasons with them. We went to two Mintos, and we lost in the finals for BC's in I believe 2023 when Whippy won it in Ontario.
Right. Right. Let's talk about COVID and as you're coming up and everything comes to a screeching halt. How did you keep yourself active?
Well, the funny thing is, in October of 2019, I actually tore or I broke my left tibia,
Right.
and so as of still now, there's a metal rod and 4 screws in there. But I went. COVID started, I think, spring break kind of time until whenever it ended. But during COVID, I was doing my own kind of physical, like physio type stuff, trying to stay on my feet as much as I can, trying to heal it the best I can. And then coming out of it, uh, I was working out as well when I was in COVID, trying to strengthen my leg, my other body parts, stuff like that, just trying to stay physical. And then COVID ended, and I broke it my junior year of high school. So I
Hmm.
only had my senior year, so I missed out on a year of recruiting. Uh, Ended up going to the All Canada Games, I believe, and I think it was in Oshawa.
Right.
Uh, Got recruited to go play in Buffalo for Mark Miashta, and yeah, that's how I kept my time busy.
Right. Well, let's talk about Canisius, and you go in there. West Coast comes east. Let's talk about the culture shock first off, because I know out here as opposed to out west is an entirely different life,
Yeah,
and let alone school, let alone playing lacrosse, and even the game is different east coast to west coast.
yeah. It was it was funny. It was like kind of a whole like full circle moment since my dad and Miashta had a relationship already, and
Hmm.
then him reaching out, going through the whole recruiting process, making my decision, heading out that way. It was nice to have somebody who at least was a like I could see like my dad kind of in him like as a coaching
Right.
perspective. It was good to see that kind of like West Coast vibe. And obviously when you're going to the east, you're gonna get a culture shock with the weather. The snow in Buffalo does not stop until April, and it's always freezing cold. But it was great. It was great. There was a bunch of lifelong buddies that I see. Some of them who are nearby the border come up for some games. I've got a wedding this summer for one of the other guys. So
Mhm.
yeah, it was a great experience.
It never hurts also the Bandits are on a three championship run there, and to be over there, and lacrosse is just
Yeah,
electrified there because they've had to suffer through the Bills, the Sabres, and all the other things where almost could have never happened. This one is actually etched in stone. This
yeah,
this this dynasty that's over there, and people are just drawn to lacrosse if they weren't already.
yeah, exactly. Before I was a Firewolf, they were definitely tickets to the game were worth it to go. The
Absolutely.
environment, the people, the fans, the players themselves. Uh, but yeah, I wish I could have played there this year to experience it myself.
Yeah.
But I guess I'll have to wait till next year.
You'll be there. Don't worry. Don't worry. You'll be there. Yeah, because those people are committed, and if they're not committed, they should be committed because it's
Yeah,
nuts in there. I always talk about the story when they won the first one after so many years. I was up in the press box, and up in the roof in Quebec Center is a long way up, and the floor was rumbling underneath my feet. It's a little bit unnerving, when you
yeah,
get like 19,000 people going. I couldn't even hear the horn. One of the most obnoxious goal horns in the league, and I couldn't even hear the horn when it went off. That's how loud it was in there. But it's really a great city for lacrosse, especially a college town and the rest of it.
oh
I
yeah,
want to I want to jump back to the Minto Cup because we kind of missed all that, and let's talk about that Coquitlam team and the whole year and rising towards the Minto. I'd watched it before with Del Bianco as the goalie, and through 2017, almost 2018, doing it, and here we go again. And not long after that, we're already building a dynasty again.
yeah. I mean, that year was probably the best summer of my life. Obviously, since we won, but the group of guys that we had on the team, it was a stacked lineup, and especially with falling short the year before, we
Yeah,
all had a chip on our shoulders like the entire season. I remember everybody talking or staying live in the group chat, like saying, like, we're coming back, we're winning kind of thing, like it's not over kind of stuff. Like we're staying on each other the entire time we were away, and then once we got back, we put pen to paper and went back to work.
right. Now, you being a transition player, I have another definition for it. I call it a well-rounded player because you got to do everything. You got to be a defensive player. You got to be on your toes to really move the tempo. Plus, you got to be an offensive player at times. Were you always in that mindset, or did you kind of develop that along the way?
I don't know. I feel like I was always kind of a D guy growing up. I
Yeah,
liked hitting people. And then more and more when I was getting higher up through minor and then ended up going to school and having to play offense, I think it kind of just like fine tuned my game where in the summer I'm playing defense and throughout the entire schooling I'm playing offense. I kind of slowly built it up where I can do both. And then having that role in junior and being able to do what I want to do and on both sides of the floor was just a
right.
huge bonus for me.
That brings it to another interesting point: is how much freedom do you need from a coach to really do what you need to do out there?
I would say a good amount of freedom just in the offensive transitioning part.
Right.
I've noticed in this league more that it's a lot faster, obviously, but I'll do what I need to do on defense, and then when I'm going on to offense, I would like to know what certain shots I'm allowed to take. Like I don't want to force bad looks over giving the ball to the O guys. Like figuring out that kind of soft spot, that kind of gray area where I can take the chances I want to take if they're risky or not. But yeah, I'm slowly learning what I can take, and yeah,
Yeah, because the worst thing in the world is the reverse transition. Something goes wrong, and all of a sudden it's gone the other way. So,
exactly.
yeah, no, I get that. What would you define as a true transition player in today's game?
True transition player. I would say somebody who plays. I'll put it in words of how Clarky kind of says it. It's like
Mhm.
transition player. You. How does he word it? It's like the steak is the defense, and then the sizzle is everything else. So like I want you to be a D guy first. I want you to have the stake, and then in those spurts where I need some sizzle, you go and do those spurts,
Right.
whether it's bringing the ball in transition, taking a shot, fighting for loose balls, getting a reset, stuff like that. That's where I feel like a transition player is meant to be, where you play defense hard and then you bring the ball up as fast as you can to the O and give them as much time as they can.
Right. One of the blessings of this show over the years that I've been doing it is I've been able to talk to an awful lot of the legends, the Dave Durantes, the Johnny Davises and guys like that. Dave Durante is adamant that the game is not the fastest game on 2 feet anymore because we have role players and here we pull up. We don't. When everybody played both sides of the ball, then you really had floor to floor to floor to floor.
Yeah.
Do you agree with that?
Yeah, I think it's the fastest game on 2 feet, 100%. I
Right.
mean, I sure as hell am bagged a lot of the time after the game, so I'm definitely running a lot.
Yeah.
But yeah, as fast as the ball moves and having to go end to end, and me especially if I'm on the other side where I don't have to bring the ball up,
Yeah.
I'm legging it as fast as I can to get the O guys on. So you're
Right.
always in a constant sprint. It's not like a jog every now and then. You're sprinting on, you're sprinting off, and yeah.
Right. Johnny Davis used to say, I used to take a penalty just so I can sit down for 2 minutes because they'd have me playing 52 minutes of the game. I always loved his take on things. So now your first move from junior up into WLA senior. Did the speed kind of catch you off guard? The change of all the transition and everything.
Not entirely, no. I feel like the main thing was just the you could tell the professional level of certain players over others.
Right.
So, like, playing against Victoria, you have O'Regan Net, you have Clark Peterson, you have Marshall King, you have a bunch of these great players,
Right.
and you're thinking of doing one thing, and these guys have been in the game for so long where they know you're gonna do this, so they can just tweak you around wherever they want. And so that was the main learning thing. I don't think the speed ever caught me off guard. I
Right.
think I'm pretty able at using my IQ and my feet to get out of certain situations. But yeah, just this certain personnel of certain teams definitely caught me off guard.
Right. Did the baiting kind of get you? Because I know that all these guys are very to find a rookie and then they'll bait you and away they go the other way. Right.
Yeah, they try and bait me a good amount of time, but most of the time I have good positioning, and other times the teammates would bail me out. But yeah, it's just something I had to learn.
Right. Did that experience start, accelerating the readiness for the NLL?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, just always having a matchup against certain guys like New West as well. There's a boatload of offensive talent on that team. Having to go against them in the summer before I even got drafted was definitely a good, like, all right, I need to step it up for so and so, stuff like that. I have to learn more, I have to do more kind of thing. It
Right.
definitely helped me realize, all right, I'm not in the league yet. I got to figure it out, and then I got to move to that next point.
Right. Now I want to talk a bit about the NLL, but before we do that, a bit of the draft and when you first got drafted, what did Clarkey say to you that he was looking for you for a role?
I mean, he called me and he was like, "Hey, we got you in the draft. Super excited to have you. We didn't think you'd be here at this point." Uh, and as the first words that I said to him were like, "All right, I'm ready to prove why I should have been higher," kind of thing.
Yeah.
And I don't think he really gave me any expectations off the get go, but moving into this at the end of training camp, he had a call with me, and I asked him what his expectations of me were, and he said, "You've already checked my boxes for expectations, but I just want you to go play and do what you got to do, and we can figure that out later."
Right. Now, my favorite question always is your very first training camp. Was it what you expected?
I don't. I mean, it was a little while ago, but it was definitely a. I was a nervous guy. Even talking to Clarky about it,
Mhm.
he said my first day was like I could tell that you were gripping your stick kind of tight, like nervous kind of thing. But moving on to day two of week one, like I was getting the flow for it. It was definitely faster. Some of the drills I'd never done before, so I was still kind of learning. Uh, but yeah, uh, I would say that the people on the team, like my roommates as of now, like Dyson,
Mhm.
Will, Taggart, they're all very like like supporting, helping kind of guys, and so they always just would let me know what we're doing here, how to do this, stuff like that. And so everybody on the team was super supportive, so it just helped me out.
Well, you have all of Durham region with you, so you should be
Yeah,
really acclimated into the area now. So
yeah.
that's awesome. But who would have been the one who would took you under their wing right away?
I don't know if took me under my wing would be anybody, but I think one person that I would say would be probably Patty Kaschuk or
Oh
Patrick
yeah,
Kaschuk.
right.
Uh, he's got a style. He's very like his accountability is very good. Where he would let me know like straight up like what I need to do, whether that was like in a game recently, stuff like that. But he would be always on my case for the bad plays or the plays I need to work on. But he's also like one of my biggest supporters when a good play happens, stuff like that. So it was good to have him.
Right. Bit of adversity this year, but I think is that there's two things: you win or you learn. And I don't think of any of the other negative things that you listen to because that's all noise. I think that the team has so much talent that just been a couple of bad things here, a couple of bad things there. You have a game where all the offense is going, the game is all the defense going. There's been a few where everybody's been on the same page and it's magic. And that's really what I think this team is all about. Also, like the Albany team of a few years ago before they went to the finals, injuries have just decimated you. Not having Joe Nardella for faceoffs, not having Captain Colton in there for most of the season have been big minuses to the team. How do you guys work around all that stuff and keep everything positive? Because there's so much good there. You can't let all the other things, outside factors, get in.
Yeah, I mean, our season hasn't been great. We're all not happy about it. But yeah, like you said, it's a win or you learn kind of scenario. And can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear
Oh,
you.
okay, okay, my headphones are doing something. But yeah, we've taken every loss as a learning opportunity. And like you said, there were some games where the offense would play well and the defense wouldn't, or vice versa. And the games that we did play, we would win, especially, we were the happiest we could be because we're like, that's what we can do. That's what we know we can do. But I think we just have had troubles replicating that over time. And then in our games where we did lose, but the scores were closer, those were games where we didn't figure it out earlier in the game, like in the first or second, but we gradually got it over time, and then we saw how good we were, but the margin was too wide to come back from.
Yeah,
But I think moving forward, I think next year will be a force, definitely. We just have to come into next year knowing that like like the guys on our team, we're a great team. Like on paper, we have
absolutely.
Dougie, we have Simmer, we have Ewok, Kurtzy, Nard's coming back will be a huge bonus, like you said, just getting those. But yeah, like we have a great team, and I think we'll definitely be a force next year.
Absolutely, and he adds so much more Nardella does just by, not just winning faceoffs, but he's not a Fogo. He is your
No,
typical guy who can score, guy who can play defense, can give you one in the mouth if you need it. He can also be one to rally the benches. There's so much to him, and being such a great coach at it as well. He really is kind of the I don't know if it's at the mortar to the brick, but he's a good chunk of it. And when he's not in there, it really is a thing that's noticeable in the lineup.
yeah, for sure.
Now, I look at a lot of the things that they're being done, and you guys are working hard. And the power play has come much better than it's been over the years. Even the year they went to the finals, the power play was something not to talk about. You almost feel like maybe in football you decline the penalty or something, but now it's actually being a force. It is actually, you look at the statistics, and you guys are 50%, 60%, and really being something that teams don't want to take penalties against you guys. How is it in practices and in the room that you guys are turning the arrow upward again?
It's I think we're turning in the right direction. Uh, like you said, the power play has been like very efficient
Yeah,
recently,
yeah,
and yeah, in practice when I'm on the second line with man down and they're buzzing the ball around, it's like, all right, how am I supposed to stop this ball? Like, what's going on? I don't know who's shooting, and if I think one person's shooting, they're feeding it to another place. But I think, how am I trying to say this? I think the way we are in the locker room, like we're such a tight knit group
Yep.
where we're all super supportive for the D guys for the O guys and the O guys for the D guys. Like Simmer will say, he'll come off the bench and look at Dougie, be like, "We got it, we're good. Like, don't worry, like we got this," stuff like that. And everybody's on everybody for accountability, but we're also all just super tight knit where we all want to win and we're all super supportive.
Right. Talk about adding the pieces that you did during the year. You brought in Dawson Theed. You guys brought in Emerson Clark for a little bit more muscle. Talk about how that helps, just again, the morale and the culture.
Yeah, I think it all started because of the Halifax game when we beat them in Oshawa. But like Theater was on the opposite team and he's grabbing guys left and right. I remember I was going out to a face off and he punched me, and like having that, like not fear factor, but like that kind of style where, or like you said, more muscle
Mhm.
is definitely something that we were looking at, and then we ended up getting with
Yep.
Theater and Mo. And ever since then, it's like, all right, I don't have to like look over my shoulder because this guy's trying to gun for me. I know that there's people that have my back if something goes bad. And we've seen it multiple times where I think it was against Ottawa. Curtsy got labeled in the back, like clean, bad hit. Like everybody knew it.
Yep.
And Dyson's jumping in, Theater's jumping in, Taggart's jumping in. Like everybody has each other's back.
Right. Well, having a guy like Dawson Theed in the lineup also brings accountability.
Oh
No one
yeah,
is going to take liberties on any one of you. And I thought a lot of it happened in the beginning of the year where guys were taking liberties on you guys because a lot of you guys are younger and a lot of you guys were smaller than
hmm
some of the bigger bruisers in the league, and that has stopped. So that's a really an added plus to everything in there. So there's so many big things to build on, I think, in the off season. But you still got a big game this weekend because you guys can be spoilers, big time spoilers to the Buffalo Parade.
hmm
And I
I
think
think
that's
if they win, they're in the 1 seed. Isn't that correct?
they could be in the one seed if a couple of things happen. Yeah, I think Vancouver has to drop something too. Mind you, I think they
Okay,
have the
yeah,
tiebreak. So
yeah,
it's weird because you're talking about a team that just before trade deadline they were talking about dismantling because they had 5 losses in a row, and from that point they haven't lost. So
yeah,
that's a little bit daunting. But I think where you guys are as the upstarts, this could be the beginning of the turnaround. Is like
for
we
sure.
start next year now, and just lay it all out for 60 minutes, and whatever happens happens.
Yeah, I mean, even at the start of this week in our group chat, guys are raring to go already. Like texting,
Yep,
all right, like we're not going down easy. Like why not end the year with a win? Give it to
exactly,
Durham. Like,
exactly. Well, let's talk about that. Let's talk about Durham Region and how they've taken you under their wing, and being in an already lacrosse hotbed of Brooklyn, Whitby, Ajax, and being able to have full houses for all the games. It's loud in there, and it's a very knowledgeable crowd. I can't go 3 feet without knowing somebody, and it's amazing in that place.
yeah, they've been great. I remember early on when we go to the grocery store, like random places, and we have some sort of FireWolves stuff on. They're asking us, "Oh, like you guys play on the team?" They're like, "Oh yeah, we do." They're like, "Oh, it's so great to have a team in Oshawa. Like, we love it here. They've needed a team for a while, uh, and it's just been great." I mean, one of my bosses at work is I work for CRCS, which is a partner with the team, and
Hmm.
so they're big into lacrosse. I was at one of their practices, just showing up for the kids, kind of thing, just giving back because they give
Yeah,
so much to us. Like, why not? Like,
definitely. Definitely. In fact, my big thing, I went on a rant on our Sunday show, is why Brooklyn and the Merchants and the BLC don't have more on the scoreboard to remind people that there's summer ball. There's still more lacrosse with NLL players throughout the
yeah,
summer. Like, you know, let's all work together because the biggest thing in the game, and we'll get into the State of Union in a few minutes, but the biggest thing, in my opinion, is we can't get out of our own way to let everybody know the greatest secret in the world, which is this game.
yeah, you're not wrong.
Now, let's look a little bit of the game in itself and where we're going. And luckily, when you got in here, you already signed the CBA, and we don't have to worry about that nonsense because we're again really close to like, okay, we're going to lose a game, we're going to lose, and let's the worst thing in the world with the Olympics coming up in 2 years' time is that we have something that's negative in the press, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Now, with what are your thoughts on sixes for the Olympics?
Uh, I mean, it's a great like I understood why lacrosse was never or wasn't in the Olympics previously, just like the whole field game, because it is a slower version. But sixes itself, like I remember watching one of the worlds where I think Japan came in third.
Mhm.
The back and forth, like constant scoring. It's like it's basically just a big highlights, like kind of
Yeah,
reel. Like you watch a game and you'll see at least 5 goals. Where you're like holy shit, how did that guy just score that?
yeah.
And so it's a great way to like get people to come out and see sixes. I think it's a great sport to be in the Olympics as well.
Right. I had Bob DeMarco, who's the president of World Lacrosse, on, and I asked him why sixes and why not one or the other, and the answer was completely different from what I expected. I thought it couldn't do box because of African countries and don't have rinks and things like that. And it was they can only take 10,000 players and coaches altogether for the Olympics.
Oh
And if
well,
you wanted to have lacrosse, and you're going to take a field team of 24 guys, coaches, trainers, and everything else, you're going to have two teams. So to have it, you're going to have to narrow it down. And they thought about the rugby model of rugby sevens to knock it
yeah,
down, and they came up with the idea of lacrosse sixes, which can utilize the field, but a smaller field, and can utilize all the best of box and try and combine the two. But most importantly, you only need a bench of 12 or 13 and some coaches, and you can put 6, 7 teams in there, men and women, and still have a competitive thing and really make it competitive by having them qualify. So the idea made sense once he explained it to me, because I had trouble kind of jiving on it also, one or the other in the middle. And the other part of it, of course, is exit strategy. It's one thing to have a really great thing for sixes and then not have anything to do with it afterwards. There has to be, that has to be the big build. We're on floor 3 or 4 right now. If done right, that could be the penthouse, and that brings it to the fourth sport. Huh?
yeah. I totally agree. I mean, the PLL is doing a good thing with it. With
Yeah,
them not being in season, they have their I forget what they call it. I think it's some sort of series, but
yeah,
it's a sixes tournament. They bring all their teams in and they host it, and you'll see the scores. It's like 30 to like 28. Like I've never even seen that in any other sport except for like basketball at halftime.
right.
But like having those eyes or having that series for the people to see through their season where they're not on is great to just like get people to see like, oh, sixes, what's that? And then they'll see the Olympics. And then I think more and more uh there may start like some minor, maybe, I'm not sure, but
Mhm.
I wouldn't think it'd be a bad idea. But yeah.
I think also we need to look at maybe the made for TV moments, because for all the people who aren't going to be in Los Angeles for it, something that the ESPN or TSN or whatever can quickly grasp and show that just how exciting it is that we already know. And
Mhm.
with sixes, you're going to have so much action going back and forth. There are going to be clips all over the place of just amazing goals, amazing plays, things like that. I had thought maybe that we could make the 6x6 net a 4x4 to maybe knock the score down from 33 to 31 to maybe 18, 16. And a coach from Virginia, Bob Tearing, reminded me that you guys are such great shooters that
Yeah.
you're going to kill a goalie. A goalie with
I
no
mean,
equipment, you're him a 4x4. Now they're aiming at the goalie. They're going to kill him. So at least
yeah.
with
I mean,
6x6, they're picking corners, right?
have you ever seen? I forget. I think it's a chaos goalie for the PLL.
Yeah,
He after one of the press interviews, he lifted his shirt up. It's like they asked him like what it means to be a goalie in this league, and he was like, "Oh, I'll show you." And he's
yeah,
battered and bruised all over his body, like. And the net's so much bigger, they're getting hit enough. I don't think they want to make it any smaller.
exactly. Especially with no equipment, right? It's one thing if you're
Oh
dressed like an
yeah,
NLL goalie, but if you just have a stick and maybe a little bit of a chest protector, good luck to you.
yeah,
Ironically, you're talking about Blaze Reardon, and I had him on the show last week, and we were talking a bit about PLL and NLL, and of course, a whole different regimen with him as being top of the heap in 2 different positions, in 2 different styles, in 2 different leagues.
Yeah.
And all the trials and tribulations was getting to where he is and staying, and all the other things in that. Now, what do you think the league needs to reach the next level? We're here. We got TV. We have a lot on the pluses and things like that. I still think linear TV is the answer for a lot of it, because a bar owner needs to flip on TSN or flip on ESPN, and it comes on. And I've watched it. Conversations just all of a sudden to the TV as soon as lacrosse is on. I've sat there with a tablet and watched. Before you know it, there's people over my shoulder watching the game. It's that addictive. I've never taken someone to a game who wanted their time back. To have that on linear TV more, I think, would be an answer. How do you figure it?
Honestly, I'm not too sure, but I would think just outreach, honestly. Like, most people I meet are around, even in BC, or not really around Durham, because most people know lacrosse. But, like, they'll be like, oh, lacrosse, like, oh, like colleagues or coworkers I work with, like, oh, I think I should put my kid in that, but it looks a bit too. Oh,
Yeah, I got you still.
you got me? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
They'll say it's like, oh, too physical, blah, blah, blah. But, like, growing up, like, the minor league rules where kids aren't getting clobbered. Like, you learn as the rules get better. We're like, all right, I can't do this, I can do this. And I think just putting kids in lacrosse and making it grow that way, and then their friends see them or hear that they're playing lacrosse, they're gonna ask their parents, and then it's just word's gonna catch like wildfire.
Yep.
But yeah.
I was talking to Doug Louie before the FireWolves game last weekend, and of course Doug's with Lacrosse Canada, and one of the things he brought up is I think lacrosse is like 7th or 8th down a list of injuries for kids making trips to hospital rooms or anything like that. It's way down comparative to hockey, baseball, soccer, any of those main sports. There's many more injuries than that. And I think a little bit of education towards parents. They see the big hits on TV. My kid can't do that. Yeah, but your kid's also not playing in the NLL.
Yeah, exactly.
Where they're running with their sticks like this, right? So
yeah,
let them run around and have some fun. In that respect, I almost think sixes is the answer for a lot of it, instead of big fields around there where you get a kid playing midfield, and it's kind of like the right fielder in baseball. Just kind of wants to be out with his buddies, hope the ball doesn't get hit to him, and things like that. In sixes, everybody's running around and they're all over the place. Nobody knows their position, but they don't even realize they're learning the game, but they are.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
More importantly, they're getting a love for the game.
Mm-hmm.
Not everybody. Yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
The smaller area, and them bouncing back and forth offense and defense, and then having to get off and everything would be great for kids. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. And it's the whole idea, again, they don't even know they're learning to love. But even the ones who don't want to make pro or make NLL or PLL or any of that, the love of the game that's the fan base. And get it to them when they're young, and then they grow up and they have kids, and it grows and mushrooms that way. That's the organic thing that will bring this game into the next millenniums down the road, hundreds of years down the road, because nobody can deny the likability or the lovability of the game.
Yeah.
Do you think the NLL is missing out by not having an all-star game?
I don't know. I mean, it was when was the last all-star game? It was a while back, wasn't
2010.
it?
2010.
Okay, yeah. I mean, I've never really even seen clips of it, but I feel like it would definitely be cool. Like, put it in like how they have games in they had a game in Edmonton this year. It was Georgia versus Calgary. Like, one of those cities where they don't have it, and just kind of put it there where we know there'll be fans, like a good amount of fans, and having that talent, the all-stars being in that area, and everybody's like, oh, I want to see this person. I've seen clips of him. Like, I think it'd be a good way to just get more teams into the league by showing up, giving the all-star game, and then putting in those hotbed areas who don't have teams, and just seeing where it goes with that.
That's a good idea. Frank came up with an idea that was to deal with the old hockey idea, and that was you have the champions. So this time around, right now, it's still the Buffalo Bandits playing the NLL All-Stars. Now, they don't want to lose to the Bandits. The Bandits don't want to lose to the All-Stars. A little more skin in the game. Blaze had put it out. Well, wouldn't that be a way to get a little bit more, hits and knocks on the bandits that they don't make the playoff? You'd have to think of a little bit of professional courtesy, right? But
Yeah.
not you're not trying to kill each other, but at least it'd be a little more emphasis on the game. And then, of course, with ESPN and TSN, the idea being that you have these big networks and the skills competition, and watching what you guys do in practice all the time just for the hell of it, and to see that is, for a regular everyday fan who doesn't get a chance to see this stuff, this is mind blowing. And again,
Yeah.
it gives you those clips for ESPN and TSN to show how great a game this is.
Yeah.
So I think the league should be looking at that. I've been pushing for it for a number of years in meetings with Sakevich and some of the NLL brass and Brett Fruden. We talked about it, but of course he was new, so he's still trying to get the league stable and things like that. Expansion. I know we've moved a bunch of teams around, yours included. I know that we lost Panther City and stuff, but there are so many talented players who are sitting either on practice squads or on none, or in ALL that shouldn't be. Do you think it's time that we should start looking at more markets?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, we're hoping that Philly doesn't like
Go
evaporate.
Too far.
Yeah. We want them to be, we want another team, but along with Philly.
Yeah.
But like, there's been so many, like as a house, we've talked about it, where another team would be great because these certain players who are on ALL teams or on practice rosters who are capable of playing at a higher level are kind of just put in a position where it's like you're kind of shit out of luck. Like, you're going to play over certain people who've been in the league for longer. Like, no, but like I was blessed in the way where I got to a team and they kind of had a spot for where I could come in and play.
Right.
And so I gained that position, but there's still other guys who have been on practice roster kind of in scenarios where they're stacked on offense and they're a no guy. They can't really do much. But yeah, I think there should definitely be another team coming.
I look at teams like Buffalo or Toronto where they already have a ton of players there, and you get drafted there and I'm going to wait a minute. There is a spot for me. I'm going to be sitting in a press box if at all for the next 4 years. Like,
Exactly.
That's not a great opportunity to try and show your skill that you've been working on for 15 years. So I do think that they need it. And the difference is I think that they need to do their homework. The league does. And instead of going into just a new market that, we can teach, let's go into a market that already knows. Here's a perfect example, Durham region. See, the success is everybody knows you're not teaching. There's not, and this is a stick, and on the scoreboard at every intermission.
Yeah, exactly.
So that if you can get that, and then get you guys in the area, and then start building programs like Saskatchewan did when they first came into where they were, and it was wildfire because the programs now are putting out all kinds of people for senior Bs because they've been around long enough now. That the early growing pains weren't so much, that was more interest and market. Halifax is another good example. They came in there guns a-blazing, had guys in market, and away you went, and it's a success. So by putting it in markets that understand it, I think are where we want to go with it. And there's a number of them. It doesn't all have to be in Canada because we're filling the 401 pretty good now. And if they put it in Laval, and then I worry about that because I worry about Ottawa's fan base, because it's so close that it'll split that. But in order to get Quebec City that they want, they need something in Montreal because it's little brother syndrome. We can do it better, but we don't care if it's just us. So if you get somewhere in there, then you get Quebec, and then now you've got Halifax, Quebec, and as a rivalry, wherever Philadelphia is, hopefully in Allentown or something like that, close, that they stay in that rivalry too on the Eastern Seaboard, and we keep all that going. If the league does their homework, I think that they can get jobs for all these guys before 1 or 2 years in a practice squad. Okay, then after that, it's like, well, it was a great career, and I'll take my MBA that I got from Yale or Harvard or something, and off I go.
Exactly.
The losers in this is the fans, because we don't get to see all this great talent that is still sitting there. Because if we put together teams, we see it in the summer with all these guys in summer ball, and being the true Canadian, I love summer ball, even more than NLL. I love WLA. I love MSL. I'm on the board for Ontario series. I can't get enough of that because I think it's a more gritty game, more like the NLL or the MILL used to be. to a
Hmm.
degree with a bit more safety in there. But
Yeah.
the MILL where your dad played, I remember having Darius Kilgore on talking to me about it's the Wild West. Where
Yeah.
something that you would get 5 games for now might be a change of possession back then.
Yeah, exactly.
So yeah, so it's evolved. Thank goodness that we've because I've had concussion people on. I've had Pat Madalena on, who's now of course chiropractor and dealing with concussion, also former NLL star, and you know the safety thing is a big thing because just like hockey, you guys have all gotten bigger, stronger, and year-round training. That you guys are just machines when it comes to it. To watch you guys for 60 minutes do what you all do, and still be able to hold a microphone at our press conferences, even that to me is like, hey, well done after some of the games you guys have been through.
Yeah.
But how important is it to get some of the younger players to understand what the commitment is to being a pro? Is there a misunderstanding still between the junior players? Yep, I'm going to be there, and what the commitment really is, not just making practice and making the game, but for your markets and for the fan base and all the other things that you guys take a ton of your time for. And believe me, a lot of people are very appreciative of all the efforts you guys make to be in community.
I mean, yeah, like coming up in junior and stuff like that. Uh, I definitely thought it'd be like I don't know how to word it, but like how would I say it? Like I definitely had to work way like way harder,
Yep.
way harder than a lot of other people because of well, obviously my dad was trying to get out of his kind of shut up whatever, so that
Yep.
was kind of my chip on my shoulder.
Mm-hmm.
But it's a completely different league in itself. Where if you think you're doing enough, you're not. You got to keep working hard. You got to. It's every day. It's when you don't want to. It's when you're sick. It's when you're tired. It's when you're getting home from work and you're like, all right, I'm gonna go get dinner and go to bed. It's like, no, I'm going to the gym. I'm getting shots
Mm-hmm.
up. I'm doing something to at least be better moving forward.
Yeah.
And yeah, I don't know if I tackled your entire question there, but
Well, yeah, because it comes down to because the follow up really was how do you balance training, work, life, having relationships, having all that together and being successful in all of that. Because there's only so many hours in a day, and you need your rest and you need your mind space. Otherwise, you're no good to anybody in anything.
it's you definitely have to make sacrifices, but it's a lot of time management. Like you can't be going and hanging out with your friends all the time, but lucky for us, we all live together, so that's a
Yeah.
pretty good note. But yeah, going to work, getting home, and then finding out times where, all right, if I get home from work at this time, I can go to the gym, or if I can't go to the gym, I'll go for a run, or I'll do something where at least I'm not just sitting on my ass.
Yep.
And yeah, you have to find that balance, like the social life as well. Like we would go to we've gone to a Blue Jays game before, uh, but we had to make sure our schedules all lined up where it's like, all right, we can make this game because then we're doing something tomorrow, like whether we're working or we're going to the gym or we're doing something else. So you definitely have to manage your time in a good way.
Yeah. Oh, I know that one because Saturday night I'll be doing your game. I believe I'm doing the halftime show for the Bandits radio thing. The next day I'm leaving for Prague for the Rubeski tournament myself. So
Okay.
yeah, I've been with the Gales for a number of years, and this year we don't have a Gales team going, but we're working for the tournament itself. So there's lots to do to keep schedules. Again, if I don't say I have it in my book, I'm not doing it. So
Yeah, fair enough.
note to everybody: if it's not there, it's I won't be there because I won't remember. There's too much going on. Um, oh, here's Doug. Doug came on late, but yeah, yes, it's his dad. Doug's out of Philadelphia. Doug is one of our big followers. So he's a great lacrosse aficionado and supporter through all the Philadelphia 1.0, 2.0, 3.0, and hopefully 4.0.
Yeah.
What are your goals over the next few seasons?
Um. Well, obviously, I'm wrapping up my rookie season, but
Yeah.
I want to definitely start excelling more. Uh, in just I guess every facet of my game. Like this was kind of just like a jump in, go see what you do. And after this year, I'm gonna talk to the coaches, stuff like that, find out what they see and what I need to work on, just so I can keep building, keep moving forward. and then I'm going to take that, put it into summer ball, do what I can to kind of fine tune it, figure it out, and then coming back into the season, use what I've learned and keep moving forward.
Right. One of my colleagues, Muffler Mike, he wants to know what the best part of your game is: speed, strength, etc., IQ, and what part do you feel you've improved and want to improve on?
I think the best part of my game would be probably my speed and just being able to be a pest. Uh, that's what I kind of see like my defensive style is. Like I'm not gonna I'm not big enough where I'm gonna blow, example, Dawson Feed off his line or those bigger guys, but I can beat them to a spot, I can make their life uncomfortable, I can block their shots, I can get in their hands. And I think the part of my game that improved this season would probably be my IQ. Uh, I think my IQ has usually been a big facet of my game. I think I can think the game pretty well, but coming into this season, game's a lot faster, players are a lot better. They don't make the same mistakes as you would in junior or anywhere else. So I definitely had to tweak it and fine tune my IQ in a fact where it's like, all right, I know they can do this, so I can't sit back or so and so in certain situations I have to play differently than I used to.
Right. What do you want your reputation to be in the league?
I want to play for as long as I can, for sure. But I don't know. I want to be. I don't even know what I want to be known for yet. It's still pretty early, but
Right.
I think I wanna be one of those high transition guys that or high like one of those people where it's like, oh, I want that, I know that guy, or I want his jersey. I want to be one of those guys. I don't want to be just another like background piece, just like a whatever. I want to be somebody where people have my jersey or they'll want my gloves after a game. Like I want to be known.
You're well on your way. Let me tell you. From what I've been watching in this, especially over the last couple of weeks, you look like you've found your niche that you're more comfortable out there and
Hmm.
really assimilating to whatever game is being brought at you or brought to you, or even with your teammates brought with you, that you
Hmm.
are able to adapt and adjust a lot quicker than, say, the first couple of games of the season.
For sure, I totally agree.
How do you want to be remembered down the road when it's all said and done?
Uh, Consistent. I don't want to be a guy who spends too long in the league where he's like, oh, he's still playing, like he's bruised and broken, he's old, stuff like that. I want to be remembered as a guy who went out there, did his best, was running his heart out, doing all the small plays kind of thing. And then yeah.
Nice. Now, if a kid from Maple Ridge is watching, what's your advice on making it from BC to the NLL?
Keep going at it. I mean, keep having the stick in your hands whenever you can. Like every time in the day. Well, obviously not in school, but when you're out of school, get the stick in your hands, cradle the ball, play pass, shoot, go with your friends. Like growing up as a kid, like I'd always have my stick and I'd always see my friends, and what do you
Mhm.
know? We're playing lacrosse.
Right.
And so yeah.
Well, it's funny you mentioned that because Mike Powell, when he was on the show, also he had mentioned that him, Casey, and the rest of them, their mom sewed a holster into their jeans so that they could put their stick there when they were going to school. So they always had
Really?
their stick with them. Yeah, I thought that was amazing.
I didn't know that. That's awesome.
Isn't that crazy? The game, that's where I feel blessed over all the years that I've been doing this is that, the stories that I've been able to hear and all the different, the focuses and all the different backgrounds and everything like that. And to be able to bring that out has always been the mainstay, right? It's never been about statistics and things like that. It's about the stories because, especially with the legends and, of course, in Durham region and Peterborough and things, there's a lot of the legends still around doing clinics and doing things like that. But when they're gone, the stories go. The stats are still there. Of course, you can Google them. But the
Yeah.
stories, that's what makes this game real. And that's what makes this community so great is guys like you who take the time and aren't aloof to the people who made you who you are and all the people around. And, nobody is more thankful than the lacrosse players of how they got to where they are and staying there. And, you can't fake stuff like that. You fake it, people know it. And
Hmm.
the realness of the lacrosse community and the lacrosse players and coaches and everybody else involved are what makes this such an amazing community. And I really think that you're in store for a really great career. And both, now as a player, is coaching down the road? Do you think?
For future, I have no clue. I'm still pretty young, so I got to
Yeah.
figure out what I'm doing first off. But yeah, I would enjoy coaching. I mean,
Mhm.
I've coached ever since I was in grade 10, maybe grade 9, 10,
Right.
like minor teams at Coquitlam. I've been coaching with my buddies or my dad being a part of it, and just
Yeah.
him kind of being on the background and letting me and my buddies kind of figure out coaching in our own way, and him stepping in when need be. But yeah, I think down the road, uh, if I get the opportunity, I definitely would enjoy it. Yeah,
Yeah. Are you headed back to Burnaby again this summer?
I am. Yes, my dad is now our D coach for summer ball, so heading back there, gonna get coached up by Big Fridge, and then yeah.
Nice. I always thought that, especially now doing clinics, like
Hmm.
Ty's got his clinic for March break and things like that. That's really where you're at to get your foot, dipped in the water there. Whether that's the next step, and then move on from there.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna this summer. I might start doing some clinics. I've
Right.
got a time management. Obviously, like I said earlier, I have to figure that kind of part out with summer ball work, stuff like that. But
Mhm.
yeah, clinics would definitely be a good avenue to go down.
Right. I really want to thank you. I know you got a big game this weekend. I know you've had a really long season and more coming, and summer ball is just around the corner. And for you to take the time talking about life in lacrosse and everything like that, I really appreciate it. I wish you the best of luck. And I know that you're going to be a success. I look forward to seeing you on Saturday at the game. I'll be there. Hopefully, you'll be one of the guys coming in the press conference. Be good to see you.
Sounds good. I hope
Yeah.
I am.
If
Thank
you
you
have
for
a minute,
having me.
just turn around the corner. You'll see me sitting in the second row trying to get
I gotcha.
all the clips.
All right. Well, I appreciate you having me on. This is great.
My pleasure. And again, I wish all the best for the FireWolves and for Clarkey and all you guys to really play the way I know you guys can and the way you guys know you can. And I
Yeah.
really do think that you're going to put the league on notice starting Saturday and next season. And I think there's nothing but complete upside. You win or you learn. And I think a lot of learning's gone on. So you guys are pretty savvy, I think.
Yeah, I think so too.
That's Jaxon Fridge from the Oshawa FireWolves. I'm Gary Groob, seen every week Thursdays, usually at 4 p.m., but we do make adjustments when we have to. Remember, everybody, keep your sticks high, keep your spirits higher, and until we meet again next week, have a great week. We'll see you all soon.